Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of Legend Fes Breakdown to commemorate the main story Chapter 5 celebration with Wilbell and Neo from Atelier Aisha. Do note that I'll also add in Regina since I already have her in the Japanese version, but I'll decide to get it one step ahead, and we'll also have to talk about the Memoria later in this video. So allow me to excuse myself and get Regina as we will start the Legend Fes Breakdown. So I'm right back. Metal Steerer? Isn't that Leo's weapon? Alright, I got it. I finally got Regina. Also, there's no music. Alright, so let's start with Neo. That's actually Aisha's little sister. That's the charming sister. Of course, her physical attack will be the highest, which is 599. But her magical defense is 694, which have an average speed of 250. That's at level 60, by the way, without robots and stuff. Let's go to Skill 1, Ladle Swing, which is kind of a funny attack name for her Skill 1 character, but I digress. So this one is single target with 62%, 7% stun with 100 ticks of weight. What it does is that after attacking, she'll reduce her own damage received by 5% for 3 attacks, which I guess enemies will not most likely give her less damage than before. But on top of that, using skill 1 allows her to grant protection to herself for 3 turns. Grant protection. If we were to do that, and in the case of enemies, protection usually does this when enemies are when the character is about to attack an enemy. And that protection status will be the one that granted the protection status will be the one to receive the damage instead of the intended target for the enemy. So I'd say protection to self for 3 turns is just a little bit of an iffy situation. But given she has a defender status, defender role, Neo could handle this a little bit, but you'll need to level her up a bit, especially if enemies are not focusing on physical damage. Magical damage-wise, Neo will have some advantage on using protection to other characters, but protection to herself for 3 turns, it's a little bit decent. If enemies are going to attack her, I mean, that's fine for her. However, there is a caveat on this one, which is, I'll get to talk about that a little bit. Skill 2. This is not an attack this time. This is specialty, which targets all allies and has 200 ticks of wait time. This reduces all allies' damage received from enemies by 24% for 1 attack. This is quite short range. If you're on the middle of a boss attack or a high DPS enemy score battle, doing this for 1 attack is just going to be like a quarter of a damage that they'll deflect from enemies. But again, if enemies will try to consecutively attack the targeted ally, like the first attack will be cheap, but the next attack or so will be going back to normal. So it's a rare case to use this, especially all allies will usually have some kind of a damage buff towards enemies, but reduce all allies damage received by 24 is just a little bit of a decisive move. So if you're saying trying to avoid a burst attack for all, I mean, that could be useful. That's useful on bosses that uses burst moves for all characters. So it's just a niche move, to be honest. Moonlight Reflection is her first attack, which is another support skill. That does not damage enemies. This time it heals all allies with 200 weight time, which is allow all allies HP to heal by 14% at the start of turn for 5 turns. So I'd say it's a very supportive one with 70% of HP restored at the helm. I do have to say that I don't think Neo is more of an attack. Not that I would have to say that. Wise for Liddy, who is a supportive damage buff healer, and then burst attack with that causes damage. Neo is more or less a non-attacker if you're using her on autoplay team. For manual, however, I mean, you could use skill 1 and have a decisive attack against the enemies nearby, especially score battles. Now, I did check on Atelier Agila's video on this one, and unfortunately, Neo it does not have taunt. What basically does is enemies will not more likely to target her, but she does have protection, which that doesn't feel that much, as this only works on manual play. Advance all physical and magical defense by 5 for all allies is okay, I guess. Burn resistance up by 30%. I'd say, yeah. Her gift colors will start with yellow and ends with green. She has Fire Shield, which fire resistance 1 to 8% for 1 attack. Chaser Charge for 6 to 54 boost damage towards stun enemies, and physical and magical resistance up for defenders. So, defenders like Lance, Minka, there's also Sophie if you have her. Oscar is also on the count. The receive physical damage down and receive magic down. I mean, that's gonna be useful for gears for defenders who are, you know, if you want to buff the potency of their protection, you know, if you want to sustain them longer for battle, this is quite good. But other traits like Fire Shield and Chaser Charge. Chaser Charge, useful for DPS attackers. Fire Shield, I'm not sure, but I guess fire defense boosting gear, I guess. But quite of a mixed bag for Neo, I gotta have to say, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this through. But Neo, decent supporter, not good for manual, not good for autoplay teams, especially that she doesn't have like taunt all enemies. So be careful. Just use her on manual if you want to grant protection status, which will allow her to deflect enemies. Next one, Magical Trickstar Wilbell, Fire Attacker. So Wilbell, high attack being magical attack, which is 665, magical defense. I guess her defense stats are neck and neck each other because it's only a 3-point difference. She is slightly faster than Neo by 5 points. And also don't tell anyone because she has boost skill damage for fire allies. I guess passives first boost poison resistance by 30%. I have to deal with leaky shroom battles during Star Chapter 5. Had I not used her, she would have ended up losing after the battle. Anyway, jokes aside, Wilbell will have fire damage, single target, 71% damage, 6% stun, 100 ticks. After attacking an enemy, reduces fire resistance by 20% for 2 attacks. I'd say if we have an enemy that is weak against fire, Regina, Ryza, and Wilbell herself she'll be able to take advantage of this skill. I guess if you're lucky enough, if the enemy is weak against it. The debuff fire resistance will be useful on fire affinity towers, but for score battles that are weak against fire, it's gonna be useful on some cases where there's going to be a lot of teams that are weak against fire. Good on them. Wilbell will use skill 1. Just use her if you need to. Her autoplay skill is Pumpkin Bomb, which is attack all targets. 166 damage and 12% stun with 200 weight, which does after attacking boosts her own skill damage by 10 to 30%, depending if the number of enemies are 3 turns. I guess it'll be in increments of 10% then. So higher boost for more enemies up to 30 enemies. This would have allowed her to, after using skill 2, her damage would have increased to 196 if there are many enemies nearby. So she won't be useful on boss battles that are, you can battle a boss alone. Only bosses with minions in it. So Wilbell will be able to clear out groups of enemies if there are a lot of enemies, that is. Her damage will eventually debuff to 176 once you reach the last enemy in the score battle or boss battle. Even in some floors of the Dimension Towers or the Affinity Towers. Her verse skill, which is interestingly attack all targets meteor sword, which is 300% damage, 37 stun, and 200 ticks. Again, same goes for number of enemies. So boost damage by 400 to 100%. So this, I'm assuming this can be done during her burst skill, which it's like an increment of 40, 70 to 100. That's just my experimental one. This is effective immediately, unlike skill 2, which only does this after an attack. First skill, this allows Wilbell to attack 1 to 3 enemies with Meteor Storm by as low as 340 damage if there's 1 enemy, and up to 400% damage if there are 3 enemies or above. Anything higher than that will only cap at 100%. I'd say this is a pretty decent fire attacker. I wish I could have gotten original Ryzen in the launch Legend Fes celebration, the release celebration Legend Fes, but I had to go for Mahdi, so I'm just a little biased on the blonde hair characters. So, let's check on GIMPs. Red and purple. Really good on her because she does have Fire Blessing, boost fire damage by 5 to 45. Strike Curse, which reduces strike resistance. And last but not least, magic damage boost. Magic characters will be able to use this one. I guess more prevalent for this and this. 2 of the traits can be used on weapon synthesizing. Strike Curse, on the other hand, use it on armor synthesizing, I think, but this can apply to enemies, so either gear or weapon, that'll do. So, Wilbell, above decent fire group attacker. She, however, only works on multi-target enemies, so good for group attackers, that is. Not for solo attackers. I have Regina, as promised from the earlier part of the video. Regina will start at level 1 and 10, so expect her stats to be, I think, her magical attack will be the highest, and magical defense being her highest in defense. Sleep resistance up, by the way, will allow her to reduce chances of getting sleepy by 30%. And bring it on, when an enemy counterattack is single target, takes the counter instead of targeted ally, reduce its damage by 10%. Oh, did I make a mistake on Neo? I think I did. Anyway, Regina, Excavation Expert. Even with low 1 smash, her damage, she will only damage 1 target for 66 damage and 7% stun, with a recovery rate of 100%. However, because she is a fire defender, she does have a generic heal attack, which allows Regina to increase damage. Allows to attack an enemy with 203% damage, 30% stun with 200 weight time. After attacking, she will restore her own HP by 20%. So, do this 5 times and Regina will stand this for as much as she can. Thus the fire defender status. Now her burst is quite unique. That burst kind of reminded me of Bennett from Genshin Impact. Radiant, this is going to be happening in 2 ways, after attacking an enemy, that is. So, which is 400% damage, 75% stun with 200 ticks of weight. If her HP is 50% or higher, she'll boost damage by 30%. I think during this burst. After attacking, she'll restore her own HP by 30% when her own HP is 50% or lower. Regina's burst is 400% damage, 75% stun, 200 ticks of weight. Now it does things one or two ways. If her HP is below 50%, which you can assume it'll be 90 on this level, she'll boost damage by 30% if her HP is 50% or higher. But there is another scenario. If after attacking, if her HP is 50% or below, she'll restore her own HP by 30%. So this is 1 or 2 ways being a fire defender for Regina, but I guess she is a decent, I would say, fairly decent fire defender. You can't go wrong with her healing all the time. I mean, I already did that lots of times if I were to play Oscar manually, as well as using his burst. In this case for Regina, she does have a caveat that her manual skill does not do this on manual attack. Honestly, teams will likely be able to use her. I mean, granted, if she doesn't go past 50% HP, then she'll keep healing. But 50% or higher, Regina is going to be a surprisingly good character. I mean, for a free 1-star character, you can boost her to level 60 if you want. So, by maximum, if she were to pass 50% HP or higher, her burst skill will end up boosting up to 430%, which it will be also dependent on her gear and Memoria that she will be using. Her gift colors this time are green and red, and she has Strike, Bolt Shield, and finally Fire Resistance up, which is also good. A bit of a mixed bag considering Bolt Shield is irrelevant to her element, but I'd say it will be useful for some characters needing to use either Strike or Fire Resistance for gear. Strike Blessing for a lot of Strike characters that will be coming up soon. And heck, yeah, you could say that Strike characters are going to be freaking awesome. Bolt Shield, I guess to get some slight boost for upcoming chapters 6 and 7 nonetheless. So I finished all 3 characters and the Memoria. Time for some trial battle. We'll start with Wilbell, since I'm just going to be I'll be only showcasing most of her attacks. Alright, that's already I did. Oh, she's way too far away, she can get her burst. Oh yeah, her next attack is guaranteed, so doesn't matter if I can resist that. Pumpkin Bum all the way. Boing. Ah, too bad it's not Halloween. She's flying with a broomstick. They picked, Katie and Akatsuki Games picked Ryzen and Ixel for this demo battle. Why did you took Wilbell's burst? Oh, okay. Just use it on Wilbell. Here's a special! Here's some fire damage off for y'all. Come on, Razer! Can you take out this dragon then? Knocked down already. Alright, eliminate all the booties, Wilbell. Time to use her burst. Whee! Meteor strikes! It's the extinction of booties, and no booties ever survived this meteor strike by Wilbell. His victory pose. Oh, cool. Neo is going to use her burst immediately. That comes from... No wonder why she's using a ladle for her weapon. I mean, this isn't the first time. We'll be getting another NPC character that will be... there's going to be another character that will be able to, like, heal all the way. You'll see it in an upcoming Atelier Shouty event story. Woo! Moonlight Reflection. Best Emoto in the Atelier Dusk series. She found the flower that can restore her sister's world. Well, I guess both of them live in the same universe. Wait, they use Mew and Paul for this demo battle. Interesting. Gross beauty! Gross beauties, never mind. Reduce target damage received. Oh, she's more or less a group attack for them. She's more or less a group supporter over as a defender. Oh well, there should be one more, and Goldship decided to pop into my Steam notifications while recording. What a fun way to finish the battle! But yeah, after beating each of the trial battles, you can actually use the Elixir of Return, which it's shown earlier, but it allows you to respec all of your characters. Respec a select character back to level Pro Board 1.
よーし、ここは一気に爆弾で私の番だね。攻めてくよ。次はどうすれば。私の番来た。私の番だね。行くよ。ちょっとばかし気合い入れてくよ。そろそろでかいのいっちゃおうかな。戦うのって天まで飛んで緊張する。それじゃ派手にいっちゃうよ。締めの一発、これで決まりだよ。勝てた。
Alright, so after recording Regina's B-roll as well as her own segment for the Legend Fes Breakdown, we have these feature Memoria called Sisters for a Day, which is the highest buff on magical attack by 31.25%. Lowest being speed with both defenses at 13.75. I guess you can say that this is more or less a rare occasion to use this, because attacker area damage up 3 if you have already boosted rank 5 damage, which it will gain area attack skill damage by 58%. Say multi-targets like Logi's Burst, Maddie's Skill 2, what else? Innocent Dreamer Resna's Skill 2. Those that can attack multiple enemies at once will be able to take advantage of this Memoria, but granted, you won't be getting this maxed out in the meantime, so having this at rank 1, it's kinda low at least, but fairly decent to say the least. So if you're gonna get this Memoria, I'd say don't. You could go for Wilbell over Neo. Neo, not much for defense-wise. Wilbell, on the other hand, good for group attacker, but the caveat is that her attack damage debuffs for lesser enemies on turn. The verdict, Regina and Neo can actually protect their allies. Regina, on the other hand, only works to protect the intended target character if the enemy's attack is single target. Neo, on the other hand, she can use it through manual skill. More technical enough if you're using her on the manual team. Autoplay wise, she will just reduce damage received by enemies as well as using her burst sometimes. Wilbell, on the other hand, genius. An above average group attacker or fire attacker. However, not as strong as initial Ryzen or 1-star Resna that you usually get at the start of the game. Wilbell is pretty much useful on group attacking enemies. So the Memoria, not much. It doesn't work, but you're not likely going to get her maxed out the Memoria one. So that's for area damage. I'm gonna say it's not a necessary, it's not a bad idea or not a good idea to roll. It's just a bit of a mixed bag. So I guess you could save your banner on Lady and Sewell's banner or the upcoming Ryzen Pro banner soon. Because Story Chapter 5, I guess we'll see the fall of Izana again. I'm sorry, but well, more on that. You'll have to check out the Story Chapter 5 for yourself. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. It's a bit longer since I had to use trial battles as well as a B-roll using a B-roll from my Japanese version footage just for Regina. So that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Discord server Blue Sky. The socials will be in the video description below. I'll see you guys in the next Legend Fes Breakdown with Lady and Suel. Goodbye. See you soon.